Growing your business is not about necessarily growing your revenue, but it's about growing your impact to not only your customers, but also to the community that's around you. That's what I learned in today's interview with Travis Bays of Bodhi Surf and Yoga. It's a camp that's located in Costa Rica. We're going to hear of Travis's story that started as a surfer in San Diego, California, and moved to an entrepreneur of a B Corp corporation in Costa Rica that teaches surfing and yoga and immerses you in a wonderful tropical environment and teaches you about the importance of environment and community. We're going to talk to Travis on today's episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. Let's start the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Lewin. This is the podcast where you find out what's happening with the ocean, how you can speak up for the ocean, and what you can do to live for a better ocean. And today we're going to be talking about living for a better ocean and how you can take action to do so. And one way is to travel responsibly. And by traveling responsibly is not only just making sure that you are going with a hotel or an area where it's environmentally responsible, but it's also, getting something back from the community that you're visiting. When I go to Quebec City to visit family, where my parents are from, where my dad was from, and where my mom is from, we have lots of family there. When we go there, we don't get a hotel. We stay with family, which is great because our family's a lot of fun and we end up having a lot of fun. But by staying with family, we end up knowing the community. We know what corner store they go to. We know what restaurants they love, or they shop in the supermarket. We know their neighbors and so forth. And we get to know the community. We get to know the culture. And a lot of times we forget that when we travel to different places, especially when you go to tropical places. You might go to an all-inclusive, which is, ends up being the cheaper of the options. And you end up staying in this beautiful palace-like hotel with wonderful pools and all you can eat and all you can drink, and you see this beautiful ocean, and it's very quote-unquote picturesque. But it's not always picturesque because you have no idea what was there before because it's been bulldozed and been fitted to your pleasure. But the fact is the area and the country that you're visiting might be just fine the way it was, and the culture that you immerse yourself in might be helpful. And we're going to talk about the importance of not only learning about different communities that you visit, but also immersing yourself in the environment and learning something that's spiritual and getting something back, getting impact, right? Feeling the impact of traveling and learning and the environment that you're living in as a sort of a way to get back what you're getting for your vacation, not just going and eating and drinking till you can't eat and drink anymore. And I feel like we've lost that a little bit on vacation. I think Instagram and TikTok and everything and all these wonderful places online that show people traveling to these luxurious things, have all the material things, takes away from traveling responsibly, takes away from really getting into the culture, building community, and building a knowledge and awareness of the local environment. In today's episode, we're going to be talking to Travis Bays, who learned that for himself by joining the Peace Corps and going to Costa Rica to do business activities to help local businesses sort of get running up and started and help startups and so forth. And in the process, not only fell in love with the country, but fell in love with his future wife and ended up staying there because Costa Rica was his place that made him feel at home. And he is offering now through his entrepreneur venture, Bodhi Surf and Yoga, a place for you to stay at a camp, learn surfing and yoga camp, and also immersing yourself in the environment and the community. And it's a wonderful place. I can't wait to visit there one day, but just hearing about it really makes me want to go. And I'm not someone who likes to go out of his comfort zone. I'm not flexible. I don't have balance. It's a place that I'm looking forward to going at some point in the near future. And it's just wonderful to be able to talk to somebody who is growing his impact and not necessarily growing his revenue to make as much money as possible. Growing his impact and growing his revenue so that he has a nice, comfortable life, but really growing his impact to have a best impact on the guests as much as possible. So we're going to talk to Travis right now. Here's Travis Bays of Bodhi Surf and Yoga talking about his adventure, his continued adventure, and how you can enjoy that adventure as well. Enjoy the interview, and I will talk to you after. Hey, Travis, welcome to the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. Are you ready to talk about tourism? I love it. I love it. I have a feeling you use that term a lot based on what you do and the surfing and so smile while you paddle. I love that. I love that idea. This is going to be a wonderful interview. I'm really looking forward to this because I've been wanting to get more people on who have their own businesses, which you do, and very much focused not only on the experience of sort of your customers, your clients, and your guests, but also the experience of managing a business while ensuring that the environment is still being taken care of. And I think that's really important to a lot of people out there. I know my audience, I know I'm always looking out for options when we travel to go to hotels, which is what you own, and do some pretty cool experiences and some wonderful places in Costa Rica, like where you're located, and to be able to find out, how your business is operating and why you decided to go with that model. And we're going to find that all out today, and I'm super excited to do that. But before we get into that, Travis, why don't you just tell us who you are and what you do? Hmm. I love that philosophy. I love that, and just I really love the whole the mother blue aspect and the mother ocean aspect. Interesting story. A bit of a tangent here when we as we kick off. Dr. Sylvia Earle, who's a very big advocate for the ocean, she was on advisory group for Google Earth when Google Earth first came out, and she was working with Google, and the person who kind of came up with the concept presented it and came up and he's like, what do you think? And she's like, well, that's great, but what about the blue part? What about the ocean part? And she's like, that takes up most of the planet and you haven't even covered it. And he said, that's a great idea. So they spearheaded, Mission Blue spearheaded the idea of trying to get as much information underneath the ocean surface. And now we have, I think it's called Google Ocean right now, and so Google Earth has that ocean component, so you can actually go and scroll and go underwater and explore the ocean based on what's in there digitally. So very much in the realm of what we're going to be talking about today. Now, you're an entrepreneur. You're a family man. You used to live in the U.S. Now you live in Costa Rica. So there's a story behind all of that, of how that came to be. So let's start just from the beginning. How did you end up going from the U.S. to Costa Rica, or even sort of discover that that was a possibility? For sure. Absolutely. Okay. Right. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. It was always there. It was always there, but it just wasn't presented in the right way, I guess, right? Hmm. Now, there's a lot you mentioned there, so I want to kind of go back to your university days, University of San Diego, and then you also had, a surfing school, and that's sort of where this started, where you knew you had the capabilities to do this. So you probably built up a lot of the skills in teaching other people and sort of dealing with other people. Now, you did that while you're going to university full time. That's got to be a lot of work. So how did the business start? Was it just more of like, oh, hey, you're at the beach, somebody needs help, they get some private lessons at the beginning, and then it kind of builds into, I got another person that wants to know more, and then another person, then eventually you're like, okay, I've got to start making this more of a business aspect. Is that how it started? Oh, I'm sorry. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Oh, nice. Yeah. And that was my next question, was the entrepreneurship side. What big lessons did you learn at that age, at that time, doing both schooling, working with some partners? What was the what were the big lessons that you got out of that experience? Right. Yeah. Right, right. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Right. For sure. Now, as a surfer, though, you're spending a lot of time in the water. You're especially teaching people, obviously you're teaching them probably on the sand first and then bringing them out into the ocean, but you're spending a lot of time in the water. Um, when did it click that you got interested in conservation? Was it at that time when you were younger, like in school, or was it later on afterwards? Mm. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Right. 100%. Mm. Yeah. Hmm. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So the connection that you have while surfing on the water, not only just with the animals and the things that happen around you, but just the actual connection in that mode of surfing, um, is what connects you. And like you said, makes you a better person overall, which I think is I don't think we realize that as much as we do. I mean, I know there's science. I know Dr. Wallace J. Nichols wrote a book on it about blue mind, and talks about why we travel down near blue water, why we always are looking at the color blue, and then just the water, and why we find tranquility in it. And so it makes sense from a surfing perspective, that you would connect, because you're out there when it's calm, and then you're out there when it's a little chaotic, when that wave comes in, and you have to balance yourself on that wave, to be able to go out there. So I love that aspect, and that, that buildup of that connection, and really realizing it. Now you're out there in Costa Rica, and you're doing this consulting, with the Peace Corps, after the Peace Corps. You're surfing at the same time, so you're growing this connection to the ocean, and to conservation, realizing that conservation is important. And then your colleague tells you this idea of what you should be doing. Now, did you always think that your next venture would be something of an entrepreneurship venture, or you had worked with, I believe, as you said, Wells Fargo before? Um, did you want it to be an entrepreneur venture, or did you want it to be more of just whatever company that would have those same values, or maybe you couldn't find one with the same values? A lot of questions in there, but right. Hmm. Yep. Right. And that was that you when you mean your own backyard, that was the U.S., or that was Costa Rica at the time? Costa Rica. Wow. Right. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I just love that journey. So Bodhi became the answer. So that's a pretty big thing to start up. Like a hotel, and bringing in people from all over the place. How did that concept kind of come to you? And then, like, was it always a hotel, or was it more of a yoga and surfing practice, just kind of like what you did in San Diego? Okay. Okay. Right. Hmm. Yeah. Really. Hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. Like a design. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I like the way I'll be honest, I like the way you did it. I think a lot of people these days think that it's just an instant, it's whatever wherever you're at now, whatever the property looks like now, that's just an instant thing, and you buy it all like that. That's expensive. That's a big risk to take, when you first start a business. And just kind of what you mentioned is, what can I do in my own sort of like square kilometer, square meters. Start off small and build as you go through in certain ways, like just like you said, maybe partnering with some of the hotels. That would have been a good idea if they wanted to partner. They didn't want to. Okay, so now what do we do? Let's pivot and let's go to, building, getting more property, building another bungalow, and then just kind of building up from there. And I think that's a good way to do things. And you probably are able to, you were probably able, and I'm assuming this, and you can confirm this, able to shape the program a little bit better because you had that feedback, and you're able to get more feedback from people and build that relationship with your guests more, right? Mhm. 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 Mm. 100%. And I think that's the way to do. I think there are too many of us uh, who think that whenever you have a business, including my own, we think that you have to scale. You have to scale and scale, and you have to, how big, how much money can you get? And that's how we define success. I mean, if you kind of look at it as an analogy, look at the music business. And success now is defined as how many albums you sold or how many singles you sold, which is determined on, I guess, popularity. but it's not measured on how big is your fan base, how, how many people listen to every single lyric, and and you get some small bands who have some very, like, who I would consider very successful, and some small, sort of what you consider small time artists that may not be like, millionaires or billionaires, but they make great music, and the people that love them are the same way. And same thing goes with, probably just to bring it home a little bit more, in your business, is surfing businesses. There are some that are huge, and there are some that are small, and they like to remain small. And I really like that idea. It's how can you deepen the impact? The impact is deepened by the experience that people have at your hotel, right? The not only just the yoga practice, not only the surfing practice, but also immerse themselves in the tropical environment that they're in. And I think that's the true experience that you get when you get there, is all of it combined, and really connecting with that environment, knowing what I know about yoga, and then even surfing now, for what you were describing. I think that, and then of course just the environment itself, and the local community and stuff. I think you get more of a richer experience in sort of, in the way, not monetary, but sort of a richer experience, which I think is great. Now, to have a company like this, where you have, this, I guess, is it considered a hotel? Is that what you consider it? That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Right. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and so when you have a like specialty lodge, and you have a camp like this, and you want people to know that they're having this quite an experience. Now, you can market that on your website. You can market that through the people that have already underwent the experience through TripAdvisor and things like that. But you decide also to become a B Corp, right? And so, B Corps are essentially, it's like a, well, can you just kind of describe what a B Corp is for the audience? I mentioned it before, but if you can give a description, because you've been through the program before. Sure. Hmm. Mm, of course. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. And what did you learn from that process? You were looking for guidelines. What was the biggest, you and your wife, what were the biggest sort of take homes from that those guidelines? Hmm. Ah. Mm. I love that idea. It's always good to get guidance from what other people have gone through, other businesses have gone through as they want to improve as well, right? Sometimes, it's not always good to do it all yourself, and sometimes it's good to benefit from the success of others in what they've done. And I think that's what B Corp does, from what I understand, is, look at what's around. This is how you can get better. And what's measured is how to measure it. And I think that's really great. Now, a lot of people probably think that companies do this, such like get a part of these programs like B Corps to use that as an sort of like a marketing tool to say, "Hey, we're a B Corp." And I think in a way you can just to say, "Hey, look, you can put on your website the badge and say, this is something that we follow and we're very proud of that." But from everything you're telling me, from doing the research that I did before, protecting the environment is essentially, and getting people more aware of the environment and the community, which is part of conservation, is very much a part of your mission, which is great. So can you just kind of give us some detail in what people could expect if, say I bought a package for a week, and what could I expect from maybe one of your pack? I know you have different packages, but say one of your standard packages. What can people expect from that? Yes. Mm-hmm. Planet. Yep. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not as good. Yeah. Right. Right. 100%. 100%. Yeah, I love that. I appreciate, I appreciate you saying that, because I do think that's important, is the mission of the business and how it melds into the community that you're in, whether you're in, North America or Central America or South America. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's got to be important to, it's got to kind of meld with the community. That's says it perfectly. So I appreciate that. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, wow. Hmm. Right. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. I think it's so important too. Having that, there's oftentimes when you travel and you want to learn about the local culture and just what it's like to live there, what it's like to grow up there. And you tend not to meet a lot of people, even though you're in their country, you're in their community. Um, and you tend not to have that connection. But I'm sure, like, after going through a yoga session, you feel connected with the people you're around. I haven't done yoga a lot, but when I have done it, I do feel better about myself. I feel more connected with the people that I've done it with, and so you share a little bit more, right? And I think your adrenaline is pumping a little bit too, just from feeling good, and so you tend to connect with people a lot more when you do when you do yoga together. So I completely think that's just a phenomenal way of doing it, of doing yoga, and probably the peacefulness of being in a beautiful place like Costa Rica to be able to do that, and then surf as well. I think it's just it's such a different way to experience life for a week or two, and I love that aspect. And you probably get more interested in the community, in the local flora and fauna, um, as well as the people when you're there, because it's that's what you're there for, right? You tend to have that experience. Yeah. Hmm. Just as we kind of wrap up here, I love the experience that people can get from this. I think it's really great. Can you tell me how things have evolved since you, like, when did you start this business? Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's having a diverse workplace, it makes it better. Just even the nature of what you guys offer too, makes it a lot more fun, to see local people being able to not only be employed but thrive in an environment like this. The business itself is trying to ensure that everybody's enjoying the culture of the business, enjoying what they do, and being able to live off what they do, which is phenomenal. Which you don't see that in a lot of tourism businesses. I think that's something that is not an easy thing to do, but the model's there. It's just if you care enough to put it in there, which you guys seem to be doing a really great job of. I think it's really great. Now, from an evolution. Now, you talk about sort of the same thing with this independence and the analogy with your daughter growing up. Have teenage life? I have two daughters and teenagers. They're 14 and 16. They like to switch things up a little bit every once in a while when you're not expecting it. From the programming perspective, and some, is there do you have ideas in the back of your mind of something you would like to implement, that you've seen not only develop within the community that you live in, that you can say, oh, this would be kind of cool to see as the community evolves, as the environment changes. We were discussing before we hit record about El Nino affecting the local rain amounts and things like that. Have you thought of adding to the program, or does it evolve? Is it going to evolve in some sort of way? Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Hmm. Nice. Mm. Yeah. Are these people like moving from different countries, or is it within Costa Rica? Oh, okay. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Mm. Hmm. Yeah. Right. Of course. Right. True. I can see that. I can see that. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, and it's like, as you said, it's like deepening the impact too, right? Deepening your impact as a business that's part of the community, not separated from the community. I think a lot of businesses start up in places like Costa Rica and other places around the world that kind of just come in on their own. They say they hire local people and they say they have a benefit, but it's truly, when you dig deep, it's really not. This business obviously has a local feel. The people who work there, people who co-founded it, like it's all there, and I think that's the key, right? And in managing that. Hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. So it's bodhisurfandyoga.com. That's BODHI surfyoga.com. It's a great place. Check out the website. I'll put the link in the show notes. And then Travis, if you have any other links that you want to send me or send them to, just let me know and we'll put them in the show notes. But I want to thank you so much for all the work that you do, you and your family, and the community that works with you to do this. I think it's awesome. I think it's one of those that gets me excited, and I look forward to trying to do one of those trips. I've never surfed in my life. I do not have very good balance, but we'll give it a shot, and then we'll see how that goes. But I want to thank you, Travis, for spending time with me today to tell us about what you've been doing, giving us hope too that there are a lot of businesses out there that are doing this type of work, and we appreciate it. So thank you so much. That would be a lot of fun. We would appreciate that. All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll have to talk to the wife about that. All right, Travis. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Travis, for joining us here on the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. It was great to learn about you, to learn about your family, and to learn about Bodhi Surf and Yoga. It's something that I love to share. The fact that we have companies that are not only part of the B Corp sort of certification and program, but people who want to do wonderful things with life and enjoy the culture and enjoy the communities and enjoying the environment and teach that those conservation values of community and environment and how important they are to people in Costa Rica. And the fact that he wants to keep it, and him and his family want to keep it the way it is and not necessarily expand, even though he had opportunities to expand to different countries or different areas, I think is wonderful. I don't think we always have to build businesses to scale and build it to make as much money as you want. I think if we keep to ourselves and keep it nice and small for a lot of people where you can live and live comfortably, I think that's a wonderful way of living life. Not only are you impacting your family, but you're also impacting your guests, your customers. And I think that's a wonderful way to live, not only as a human being, but as a business. And we don't see that too often. So with that said, I want to thank Travis again. I want to thank his family for all the work and all the employees that he employs there and offers such a great environment to live in. I just want to say thank you for the work that you do. And so anybody else is interested in booking time or want to know more about Bodhi Surf and Yoga, you can go ahead and go to the website. I'm going to put it in the show notes, but if you want it right off the bat, it's Bodhi, BODHI, surfyoga.com. BodhiSurfYoga.com. I'll put in the show notes so that you can click on that link and go right over there. You can book whenever you'd like and book a week, book 2. You can book your family, you can book just yourself or just a couple or with your partner. It doesn't matter. Enjoy it. And if you go or if you've been there, I would love to hear what you think. I would really love to hear what you think of your experience or what you thought of your experience, or if you're excited to go or anything like that. You can hit me up on Instagram at How to Protect the Ocean. That's at How to Protect the Ocean. And of course, if you want to get a hold of me through the website, go to speakupforblue.com/contact. That goes to my contact page, goes right to my email. And of course, you can leave me a voicemail because I love to hear your voices on the website. Just go speakupforblue.com. In the bottom right corner is a microphone, and all you have to do is click on that, leave a voice message. I will answer you as soon as I can. And thank you again to Travis. Thank you for listening. If you know someone who would enjoy the surfing and yoga lessons, whether they're surfers or yogis, it doesn't matter. Share this episode with them. It helps us grow and it helps us spread awareness of great businesses that are out, not only to help the ocean, but help the planet and help the communities that live within it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Lewin. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time, and happy conservation.